So I was just sitting here this morning and I do fill out my journal every day thanks to the lovely Carly Murray. This is her Soul Seasons journal. It has beautiful just 5-minute download in the morning and then sit with what's kind of come up. And I've been doing a fair bit of coaching lately in the same kind of, and actually in the talk that Bridget and I did with the Nourish box last week, the same kind of concept kept coming up. So I thought maybe it was worth just jumping in here and just giving a little bit more context or teasing that out just a little bit more so that perhaps this message was meant for you today. I don't know. So I've titled this, Be the Empty Container for Them to Feel. Now, if you've listened to the podcast, you've probably heard me talk about this a lot in terms of masculine and feminine polarities. But from a mothering perspective, I want to just kind of probably dig into that a little bit more and get you to understand that, you know, our children are always going through tiny hurts that stack and that they push down during their day, and they build up this enormous amount of pressure in their bodies, no different to you, right? There's the straw that broke the camel's back is a saying for a reason. It wasn't the straw, it was all the other stuff that was stacked in there, and the straw was just the last thing that kind of released that valve and let all of that stacked, burdened stuff come out. And for our kids, it's the same. But our kids will only have the opportunity to really wholeheartedly kind of hand you their stuff and release it out of their nervous systems if you are an empty, safe container in which to do that. If you are so tightly wound in your nervous system and all through the day you've been feeling all these things and either disconnecting, at the neck, cutting off from the head and the body, or you've been, I've just got to get through this day. Okay, yeah, this intensity is rising in my body, but a conscious mother does it this way, or I've just got to squeeze myself into the suit that says I have to be this particular way, or the pedestal perfect mother I have in my head would behave this way. So even though my body is screaming at me and in conflict and my head's going, but this is the way you do it, or my body is going, this is exactly the feelings from my childhood and I can't be mum, like there's no way because I have this perfect version of exactly who I need to be is the opposite. So I'm going to pull that apart and separate that mind and body and try and squeeze myself into being something that's actually not authentic to what's happening in our body. And I just find this concept just blows my mind that our children are these whole and complete souls that are always trying to pull us into authenticity and growth, right? So they plug into our nervous system. We are energetically in a soup together, plugged into each other's nervous systems. We're always reading people. So when we read their body and our kids can feel into our body and they're like, that's what's going on there. And then we're saying all of the conscious things this perfect mother should say because we're squeezing ourselves into this suit. They're going, this doesn't make sense to me because my body is feeling this, but I can hear you saying that. And there's this incongruence, there's this disconnection. And I'm trying to build this blueprint for what authentic emotional expression is. I'm wanting to know when I feel that in your body and I feel it in mine, I'm trying to work out what exactly is the truth of that emotion and what does it sound like and feel like and how do I express it and what does it mean? Like they are constantly building blueprints for authentic emotional expression. So when we think we're doing the really conscious thing of feeling one thing, squashing it down and trying to squeeze ourselves into this is the way a conscious mother would do it and trying to ignore all of this and that pressure is building, we're offering our kids a huge disservice because what they're saying is, I feel one thing, but actually what you're telling me is I should ignore that and push it down and just stay here, do with what, doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It's not rational. Here's the truth. Don't listen to your body because what I'm saying is the truth. And for me, that's such a disconnection there that I want my children to learn the truth in our bodies, right? And it starts with us. So if we've got all this stacked stuff, this coiled, tightly wound nervous system that's really full of feeling that we just kind of haven't had the opportunity or consciously felt like it's safe to release out of our bodies because we have all this story around certain emotions, then we're so full as a container that our children are going to be doing two things. They're going to be manifesting and doing it, and even tiny little babies, they're whole souls, and you are co-creating all of the time together. They're going to be doing the exact perfect behaviors to rub against those edges of like, come on, bring your authenticity, because I can hear one thing, but I can feel another. And your authenticness is the best gift that you can possibly give me. So I'll do exactly what I need to do until you finally connect into that thing that was in your body the whole time that you hadn't consciously done for yourself. I'll do that. I'll push that edge for you. I'll get you to the point where you can actually really empty out that container. And when you're an empty container and you do the, my body's just unwound and I've let this thing out, and you empty, all of a sudden you feel safe for me again. But we can do that consciously, and we can do it in a really healed way, or we can do it unconsciously and we can unleash in a number of ways, right? Which, if you have any type of trauma background, can feel really intense. But I just want to hit you up with this as a concept so that you start to see that our children are always asking us to be an empty container, and we can't force ourselves into this suit that says, I have to stay here this whole time and listen to everything, and it's my job, and regardless of what I'm feeling, the right parent, the best parent, the good mother would stay here, and she would do this, and she would be that, and she would respond in this way. Even though my body is like this is what the good parent does. But you're so full that your child can't fully release. So you get the child that is going, no, this doesn't feel safe for me, and there's all this mixed messages, which I just think teaches them all sorts of things when they're older, and it's not really safe. So okay, I'll do a little bit but not all of it, as opposed to I feel something and I have this rebuilding of body trust of I feel and I can respond, and that's really safe. I can undo my story enough to find a really safe pattern and expression of all of these different feelings, and I can uncoil that tightly wound nervous system, release and take awareness. Oh, what is this? What's this story that I've got here? Because it's a beautiful moment of awareness you've brought me to. I don't need to unleash it, but I can notice it, and I can find a place to let myself uncoil it so I can go and empty out that container that's so full of pressure, so I can be empty for you. And then I bring my beautiful empty container to my child and I say, I'm here. I am empty. You are welcome to fill this space. Bring it. Like, this is beautiful. Let me feel you filling this space. Like, feel it. And so their body goes, authenticness, safety, cool, I can let this out of my body. And then my body can go, at the end of that, and I'll want to rest, and I'll want to cooperate, and I'll want to be in my natural loving state, rather than I'm really kind of actually quite wound up, and so I'm whinging all of the time and nothing's quite right, and I'm the baby that doesn't really sleep, and I'm really uncomfortable a lot, because that authentic empty space, that authentic blueprint from you, an empty space from you, isn't sitting there. And I just feel like this is such a beautiful opportunity for us to really see how everything our children bring us that feels so too much is so on the way, not in the way. It's so on the way when you consider these little Buddhas, these whole souls that even we want to say is this helpless, little tiny baby, is this whole and complete soul that just by virtue of coming through you is of a higher consciousness than what you are, and goes, yeah, I read you. I'm all of your repressed parts, and I'm right here going to softly rub you, or maybe not so softly, up against those to say, pay attention, be with this. What's going on here? How come this thing is still in your body? Like, please get it out. I'll show you the way to this place. And if you want to ignore it more, I'll show you some more. Like, so incredible as a gift for just that family soup, that dynamic, that mother-child dynamic. So I just thought maybe today you needed to hear that you need permission to tune in and actually rebuild that connection and trust that maybe for so many reasons has been disconnected from you, that I feel and I can't respond. I feel and I should do it this way. I feel and the perfect mother would be here, as opposed to I am the most authentic version of myself, the biggest gift to my child in this world. And this is an opportunity for me to release something that actually is just my stored potential wound up so tightly here in this really bound up story of wounding. And if I allow myself to meet it with curiosity, to have an opportunity to unwind my nervous system and empty my own container, all of a sudden, that's what spaciousness is. And I fill this space. And that's the space that our children are willingly and wanting to fill into. So, it's a bit bigger than just, I'll listen to your tears till the tears end. But it really starts with that noticing of where that pressure is built inside of you, and giving yourself, or rebuilding connections of body trust and responsiveness to uncoil. And then knowing you can be the empty container, right? You pour all that milk jug out, you become the empty one, you go, fill it up, I'm good. And then when I'm full again, I'll release it again. Like, it's such a beautiful experience of humanity, through the experience of, right, these soulful little Buddhas that we gave birth to. So I don't know, maybe this was meant for you today. I'm not sure. I hope it is. Anyway, let me know. Comment if you need to.